session. First item on the agenda is the minutes from May 8th. Any questions on May 8th minutes?
No questions on the minutes.
Okay, no questions. Next item on the agenda is presentation, Yarborough Park Day of Impact.
Commissioners, Mr. Alex, good afternoon to everyone. Super excited to be here to present to you the plan for Day of Impact at Yarborough Park, which we have scheduled for June 25th, 2004. Some of these slides you all have seen, you've heard me talk about and discuss, but just kind of as a refresher, want to remind us, Day of Impact in the revitalization of our community parks is an opportunity for us to work in partnership with the City of Benton Harbor in alignment with the master plan to renew, refresh, and reimagine the parks as they exist today for the future. It's an opportunity for us to celebrate and enhance and connect the historical aspects of the park, and to also, more importantly, reuse existing elements whenever possible from a sustainability perspective. And we want to make sure that whatever is done through the voices and the lens of our community constituents, that it's meeting the needs of the community at large, and invited guests as well. And then also through an opportunity to inspire the residents and all of our visitors to enjoy each of these parks as we revitalize them to transform how they're currently being used for the future. So you've seen this slide before, but I kind of want to just walk us through what the final options and what the transformation and what our volunteers will be doing in the park on Tuesday, June 25th, with your support. We want to look at that beautiful boardwalk that we have, right? And we want to resurface the boardwalk and clean that up. And so we'll have volunteers that will clean that. There are some elements on top of the boardwalk on the railing that have come off and or have been burnt off. So we are going to replace those elements as well. I think one of the biggest pieces to support the transformation of the park is the installation of a bathroom pavilion. As I presented, we previously presented in the past. Currently, permits have been submitted and reviewed. Site plans, mechanical and electrical engineering plans have been submitted to the state. So we are waiting for approval from the state on that, which Agamarsh has been working with our contractor CPM to work through some of those logistics as well. But all systems are go. The lights are green. We're still moving forward. So we're really excited about moving that project forward. Also with the installation of the new bathroom, we're going to resurface the playground area. We're going to replenish the playground area and really replace it with mulch in that space, very similar to what we've done over at June Woods Park, to create a safer space, easier space for children and families to play. But in addition to the bathroom pavilion, what we do know, we realize is it's important that we provide the new ADA updated accessible sidewalks to accommodate and enter into the park. So we will be transforming that as well as a part of the master transformation and the installation of the bathroom. And then one of the things that I'm really super proud about is our ability to install the Charles Yarborough Monument. And so I know Ms. Mamie is in Europe right now with her daughter. And so I have intentionally not identified the location where that monument will go, because I really want her personal touch to tell us where she'd like it to be. One of the things you'll see, I have it number 6. You might not be able to see it here, but where you see number 3 and you see underneath and that those parking spaces here, those trees right there. So this is like green space, and entering into the park right here is the fence, and then you kind of going into the marina right there, right? So one of the things we're going to do as a tribute to Miss Mamie as well is to create a serenity garden there. So we're going to put mulch there. We're going to put a bench there and a trash can to allow families to kind of just like be in a peaceful zen space. And look at some signage down the road to call it Miss Mamie's Garden. Right. So I just thought that was, a really nice special touch there. So that's going to be a surprise for her, y'all.
Okay.
And then the celebration of community flags. So here around the turnabout, we're really going to re-landscape that turnabout and transform that space. And then as we get closer to when we start the installation of the bathroom pavilion, we're looking to install 4 flags around there: our U.S. flag, a Benton Harbor flag, the city of Benton Harbor flag,
Okay.
and then we're looking at maybe like a Benton Harbor Tiger flag or something like that. All elements that speak to who we are as a community. And then just some additional landscaping, which we'll kind of go through a little bit further down. So here's what the volunteer opportunities will look like on Tuesday, June 25th. Currently, we have over 120 plus Whirlpool employees that are registered, assigned different workstations, and ready to volunteer in the park on Tuesday, June 25th. I've identified 6 different types of category workstations. There will be mulch installation, one specifically in the playground, in the garden areas, cleaning out the flower beds and some of the landscaping, even in the turnabout in that middle aisle, but also included in the park. We're going to repaint a lot of the benches, all of the benches. We're adding new benches in the park, weeding, edging. I referenced replacing caps along the boardwalk, and then power washing the Riverwalk deck. And so one of the questions we have is, do we have a water source that we would be able to access to be able to do that? If we have to bring in a big water truck, we will, but obviously I would rather not bring such a huge water machine in the park if there's an additional or an alternate water source that we could access, but we don't have to talk about that right now. We can talk about that in the back end. So here you'll see on this slide, and I think I've shared this in a previous presentation, you'll see where the pavilion will be affixed. 32 by 40, and it will be facing the sidewalk in the entry drive of the park. And that is for safety concerns, for families to be able to keep an eye on their children while they're in the park, and for high visibility as well. And I think aesthetically would look really nice, along Riverview as you're driving around the turnabout up and down. So again, you've seen this slide before, some of the common features. I've referenced the installation of a memorial for Mr. Yarbrough. We will be installing new trash cans. Rubber and wood chip mulch will be going in there. There are some of the light fixtures in the park that are broken. So we have identified those light fixtures and we will be repairing and replacing those. We will be installing new grills. In addition to the grills that are already there, new grills that will be there, picnic tables, and then resurfacing and power washing the deck. So here's kind of like what the game plan is for the bathroom pavilion. Because we will not start the build for the bathroom pavilion on June 25th, we would like to do a ceremonial groundbreaking of where the bathroom pavilion is going to go, because we do know and believe that this installation of the bathroom pavilion will be transformational for this park, and it will increase how the park is used and how many people will be in the park. So I'm super excited about that. And then we are anticipating, based off of timing, that construction will begin in early fall. And I'm thinking August is where we are. I'm really excited about that because if you recall, when I came before and presented before you, we were anticipating that we would be starting construction on the bathroom pavilion sometime in July. And there was a concern, right? I had concerns because of the usage of the park, the location of the park. And I know around the holidays, there's always things and activities that are happening in the park. This really presents a unique opportunity for us to not have to close the park during high peak season. So with the construction starting when it starts, we'll still be able to have a ribbon cutting in early fall before the winter comes, right? And so then the park will be fresh and refreshed in the spring and the summer of next year. But we will have the bathroom pavilion completed by mid-late August. So once the project starts, it's going to move pretty quickly. And as I referenced before, the current plans and permits have all been submitted to the state for approval by design and elevation. So here are the timelines and some of the permissions that we're asking from you for the city. We actually are gonna have overnight, private surveillance provided, so we can gain full access to the park first thing on the morning, early morning of the 25th. There's gonna be like 70,000 pounds of mulch being delivered, right? We can't have that kind of mulch delivered on that morning. We need to have it physically in the park before all of the volunteers arrive. So, and then we'll have portable bathrooms installed. There's a big dumpster because we are gonna be, cutting all the dead limbs off of all of the trees that need to be trimmed and cleaned, in the park, in addition to some other heavy deliveries that will need to happen. So we're asking if we can close the park on the afternoon of the 24th through the end of Day of Impact on the 25th. And if you all could follow whatever communication strategies that you all do to inform our residents that because of Day of Impact, the park will be closed and prepped, but it will be available and accessible to them after Day of Impact to enjoy. On the 25th, we are asking if we could please use the Phase Electric parking lot for our food vendors and food trucks to feed all of our volunteers on that day. It's gonna be a lot of people there, so we gotta feed them. And so the vendors that we will be using are Diallo Soul Food, Mark's Girls Barbecue, Verde Juice Box, and Sabroso Mexican Restaurant. So all Benton Harbor businesses. So we're asking if we could use the All Phase Electric parking lot, and if the parking lot can maybe be mowed, not necessarily trimmed or anything like that, but just the perimeter of it, because we'd like to use the asphalt space so that all of the vendors can set up for all of the volunteers to stand in line to get their food and come back into the park and eat lunch under the tent. And so because of that, I know I was out there yesterday, wanted to know if it's possible if we could have the park mowed either on 6/20 or 6/21, just so that the grass is pretty low while we're in the park on that following Tuesday. You know, I know grass tends to grow pretty quickly, particularly and especially if it rains over the weekend. I think we'd still be kind of safe, but I think if we could cut it towards the end of the week, that would be greatly appreciated. And then on 6/19, we're asking if it's possible if someone from the city and our contractor do a walkthrough. We're gonna have quite a few generators in the park, but I would like to understand where we can access power and where the power sources can be accessed to the park on that day. And then again, like I asked a question earlier, is there a water source that could be available for us so that we could power wash the Riverwalk deck and some of the other things that we'd like to plan. And so then the last question is, can we all do this together, right? We need to. I can't do this work. This work would be valuable without you, without your voice, without your input, without your participation, without your engagement. And so we're asking if you, our commissioners and community constituents join us in this. This is how we build, this is how we grow, this is how we learn from each other and listen to one another. And so, we are planning to be in the park from 8 to 4 all day. We will be providing shuttle service from our Riverview campus all the way, shuttling all of our employees down to Riverview Park, and then taking them back and forth throughout the day. So there will not be extra cars in the park, parking in the park. We have asked all employees to take the 2 shuttle buses that we provided to take to the park, and then when they're ready to leave, if they have to leave early, to just take the shuttle back to Riverview to go home. So that's what we're asking. We're scheduled to have continental breakfast starting from 8 to 8:30. There will be a morning program, and then we'll have lunch from 11:45 to 1. And then in between that lunch, we'll have a groundbreaking from the back of the pavilion. And I would be honored if the friend is back there, Mr. Duncan, if you would be a part of our groundbreaking ceremony. Your voice means something. And I've heard you and I hear you all the time. And so your voice was a very loud voice that resonated very clear why we needed to put bathrooms at Charles Darwin Park. And so I would be honored if you would join us with others. Because I think it's important for you and others to be a part of this, because this is for you, all those that use this park. So you don't have to commit to it right now, but I did, I was hoping that you would be here, because I personally wanted to ask you something. And so that's kind of what I have. And so I want to open it up for questions, comments. Yes.
That's something changed. We don't hold all phase if we buy it. We don't have.
Can you, no, everybody?
We don't, but I'll be able to get permission from people that just took an option.
This was in reference to the use of all phase parking lots. So the city manager is gonna make contact with the owner to see if they can use it.
Thank you.
We want to use the parking lot. So
Yeah, I heard you.
Oh, I didn't.
I was trying to do what,
Okay.
We do have a big grid of built out there for electricity, so. Yeah, we should have money.
And I don't know what that is, Ms. Regina, so if you or someone could, like, we could schedule a time, if we could go out there together, so we know what to expect and to anticipate to make sure that we set up. Thank you.
We'll double check on the water.
Yes, thank you.
So those things that we gonna need from city, Mr. Lilly, you'll be,
We'll have.
okay. All right.
As
So
far
what
as
are the
water goes, there is a hydrant there, but you'll have to run it across the drive by the ravine.
I was gonna say, one of the things that I'd like to do is to, like in previous years, have Ms. Lana send an email to everyone with all of this information in it. I know you all have jobs and work, and so if you're not able to stay for the entire time, if you could come when your schedule allows, that would be appreciated. And then also with your t-shirt sizes, because we are one,
Okay.
and so we could be one, right? You know, we're being one, so.
Commissioner Henry.
so is it open to the public during this day?
Yes, yes.
And how will the city communicate that to the public?
That is open to the public.
How would the commission, how will the city communicate this event to the public?
Or see if we can't get it announced on the radio station, make announcements in the newspaper, put it out like we're doing now through YouTube, and generally get the word out there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Ice.
So the park will be closed that day. right?
On that day, because it'll be under construction, like,
Yeah.
But if there are residents who wanna come down and volunteer,
Okay,
you know, we'll find something, you know, we'll plug you in one of the workstations, because there'll be plenty of things to do.
okay, then, and on that day, the goal is to do everything except the bathroom, just have the ground.
Yes,
Man, that's.
yeah, everything will be
Boardwalk.
done. That will be all that, we'll have over 140 people in there, so we will have it done. I have a training scheduled for next week for all the volunteer captains. And so part of that too is when we have the ribbon cutting, we want it to be a big celebration. And also I know at that time Ms. Maybe will be able to be there, as well as her family. So even family members from the Yarborough family would be able to be there as well.
I just want to ask just one thing, can Mr. Duncan had cut the ribbon with the scissors?
When we have the ribbon cutting, yes. And for the groundbreaking, you will have a shelf too.
I'll use shelter.
We'll work with you, Mr. Dunn. We'll work with you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Later on, we do still plan on putting fish cleaning station.
The fish cleaning station will come later, but we, like, because of budgets and costs and all of that, it just, you know, and then we wanted to make sure we could identify the right location. Because obviously we knew where we decided to move the bathroom pavilion from to where it's going to now. the fish cleaning station would not have been appropriate there. So we've got to do it the right way. So I've got to make sure I've got the right people to help guide that discussion, to come back to you all with representation, but also recommendations on where that option would be best.
Okay.
But yes.
All right, Mr. Roberts.
Just a comment on the mulch, that material that has been used in parks previously, Union and June Woods Park, and it sounds like it's planned for this park. There's some controversy on the hazards, cancerous components of the, which are part of rubber production, that maybe should be considered in its use. I offer to share that with you, and I'll just share it with anybody else interested in the topic.
Anybody else? Thank you, and we're looking forward. Oh,
I would like to just mention that we'll be closing the park tomorrow for a couple of days for the spraying, get rid of the weeds in that area.
oh,
Because they've got to scrape the playground and take all the old mulch that's in there, the wood chips that's in there. There's a lot of weeds that's in there, so they're gonna go, I've got somebody that's going to scrape all of it out.
So everybody knows how long Roundup stay on the ground, right? So how long is this park gonna be closed to our babies and our people?
I figured a couple of days it would be, drying up.
But that's something that needs to be known. How long does Roundup stay on the ground and contaminate? That's something that we don't need to be playing with. We need to know what the real deal is. Cause see, they did it once before and I understood that. But within days, the kids were back on the, I'm not in agreement to using Roundup to kill anything, especially my people.
We can use a different, Commissioner, we can use a different weed killer, and then I can give that information to Mr. Alex.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, we
That
can use
would
a
be
different weed
wonderful.
killer. That's not a problem, because I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable, because we're not here to hurt anybody. We're trying to create healthier communities. And so, but I will get that information.
We can get a material data sheet, we
Yes, sir.
can post it where anybody can see it.
That'd be good. Thank you.
look at Mr. Duncan, did you? Okay. Say ladies first, Mr. Connect.
One of the things that I have to offer as receiving the conservation award from the USDA in 2015, I've learned that vinegar, salt, the Dawn dishwasher liquid, that's a solution to kill off weeds.
You said it's what? I'm sure you know.
A combination of vinegar, salt, Dawn dishwasher liquid.
Is there
It can be, it doesn't have to be perfect to the mixture of the combination of coming up with, that is the safest thing about it.
Thank you.
That I know.
Mr. Duncan.
Just one question, I might have been a little late, when it came to put it in, are you gonna take the swing set or whatever that is out there now, out and put something else?
No, sir. We're replenishing that. We're refreshing and replenishing it, we're gonna repaint it. And it will just like brand new, the sail shades that are there, we're replacing the sail shades. So from a sustainability standpoint, we want to preserve as much of the park as possible.
And y'all will have any say into,
Yes, she did.
okay,
She told me, she was real clear. Don't change anything out here. She's like, Nikki loved green spaces. And so I heard that.
thank you.
Yes.
Anybody
I
else?
was calling me because she said it, but I would never call her.
I call him Mickey all night.
If that's it, thank you for
Thank
the
you.
presentation, and we're looking forward to. I think it's my fault here, but we got one quick presentation it's not on the agenda. We'll go ahead and allow the time, class of 74. Just to update again about the legacy run.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to just touch base with regarding the Legacy 5K Walk Run. My name is John Taylor, class president 1974, with the committee member Jim Fuller as well here. Actually looking for guidance and seeking your direction at every point through this event. And I say that this is an inaugural event. We're looking for this to become potentially a cornerstone. So I won't go on necessarily all the details that we went through from a high level perspective at the commission meeting. But one of the first things, we've got several questions, so obviously our goal is to try to seek the expertise or at least professional comments from public safety, public works, and all of those administrative groups that have the approval to make sure that what we're doing is according to the current policies and procedures. That in itself, hopefully, and I don't have access to it, that the event is on the city calendar for August the 3rd. I'll have to address that to the city clerk and see the fact that it is on there as well. We'll be following up with public safety regarding the route, the additional route. That's to be again reviewed by public safety. Going through the approval process, we've identified the insurance agent and so forth. We need to talk to public safety, public works regarding barricades, trash removal, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll schedule a meeting with them hopefully within next week. Obviously with public safety again with the Medic One and so forth. We're going to be looking to put porta potties on the route. That being said, we'll be asking at some point the approval to place it on city property somewhere. Obviously just for a one-day stay, on one day off the next. We'll be looking with public safety as well as public works regarding, barricades, cones, flags, et cetera, because it's going to take a lot of volunteers to pull this off. I heard the word parking coming up. That's something that we're going to address as well. We've identified a couple locations that we'll have to seek as well from the property owners to have potential park for the volunteers as well as the participants. And the key will be a couple businesses strategically along the potential route. We started at 6 in the morning. The route, the race is supposed to start at 8. Hopefully it'll be over with about 10 or 11. But I know common sense tells me that you gotta have clear access to the post office, obviously, Family Dollar, and so other the dialysis center, et cetera. So we're gonna be working with public safety to ensure that there's going to be to access to those places of business, and then notification to any property owners and so forth regarding that. I heard you mention Charles Yarboe Park. Just to let you know that, which I think many of you probably know, his sister Sandra Yarboe was one of our class members. So she's hopefully going to be attending our event as well. She was the 50 years ago for us to Miss Bernard. So we're going to be celebrating some things. It's kind of just heard that kind of tie some things in together. So I'm sure she's going to be down there for the groundbreaking and revitalization of our Brothers Park, and hopefully she'll come back in the next month to participate and celebrate the Legacy 5K Walk Around. We welcome any kind of questions or directions to steer us in the right direction. Ms. Henderson, I know you've been putting on some events in the past, but we welcome insights, so we're making sure that we're more proactive than reactive. Making sure we don't have any issues of concern that may be an impediment to having a successful event. Any comments or questions?
Okay, I know one of the questions that came to me, Mr. Taylor, was I know some construction is supposed to go on. Was it Empire? Was it going down that way? And would that be during that time or what?
West Empire,
Yes.
going
Yes.
towards the,
The river.
and you're planning on doing that event this year very soon. right?
August the 3rd.
Yeah, well, that project is not gonna be going on during that time.
Good. All right, that's clear.
With the slight, there may be a slight change in the route, and obviously will be potential going through just the roundabout in the Charles Yarborough Park. Obviously for distance purposes, just not all through the park, but just when you turn in the park, there's a roundabout. You can just make a circle and come back out. That we may be using a requesting access to just that part of the park for the route. I've probably spent, made several trips around there, actually a metric to get to the 3.15K of mileage. And we obviously were instructed or informed at the very beginning when we started this that we had to stay away from, not had to, but stay away from Main Street, because obviously you state and federal guidelines, so the route itself does not impact Main Street, so we need some additional surface area to complete the 3.1 race itself, and so maybe require a request to go into the park and come out and then go back up Empire to start point will be the high school right here at the corner of Colfax and Empire. But high level, we've got some response from the business community, just to let you know that some of the businesses in the community have been approached. They've been open to listening to the event all the way from, I'm gonna miss the names, but them all, the ones that we go to every day, Walmart, Myers, Gordon's. We're looking to engage with the health department. Colwell Health has been instrumental in looking to that. We're going to have the health aspect of it as well there. Not necessarily health fair, but health information, health assessments that may be provided by the health group. And I want everybody to kind of feel this a little bit. This is the first time, so it's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, so to speak. But what would it look like 5 years from now? What would it look like 10 years from now? That's the legacy part of it. There's runs all over the place, all over the country, and they're attended by runners run, right? They go places to run. Hopefully, Ben Harbor will be one of those places. Beautiful here. So that's the legacy part of this. This is not a one and done. This is the legacy part that one day we'll be able to sit back and look and watch and see the community engagement, the business community, families, civic organizations, churches, fraternities, sororities, running groups, high school seniors and students, families, etc., all going out on a beautiful Saturday afternoon or Monday morning in this case, walking and getting some exercise and improving their quality of life through health and fitness.
Okay, John, I know you had contacted me and said you had made, I guess, through some emails and communications with some of the staff. Just want to put some faces to some of the names you probably already been talking to. That's Director McGinnis right here.
Yes, I
Okay.
met with Director McGinnis.
And the Deputy Mike Clark
Yes.
and Fire Chief of Marshall
Yes.
Kaczmarek.
Yes.
Okay. He's also, when you mentioned medic, I think you still sit on their board. Don't you, sir?
Okay, all right, we shall be in contact, and obviously I'll be in contact with Mr. Little.
All right, and yeah, Mr. Louis, and the city clerk.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody, Mr. Duncan, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, sir.
I may have missed it, but could you repeat why you can't go down Main Street again?
Somebody in here probably could tell me better than I can, because of federal and state regulations to do that.
Chair, could somebody tell me?
Main Street, excuse me for talking over, I apologize. I do know this, Main Street is a business, state, access point, correct? And that's the reason why we would need state approval just to get on Main Street. And honestly, I didn't have the wherewithal to start calling Lansing.
Well,
Not, sort of like the Blossom Parade, for example. That's been in place for as long as I've been born, right? So, a long time. And but not to say down the road, who knows? We may approach that, but that's the reason why we didn't do it.
Well, I'm always in opposition to something.
Yes, sir.
So our city manager can pull that off. He can get that to happen. Why exclude downtown Benton Harbor when I thought it was the business owners what was saying, no, don't do it. But it's not. So maybe some other times in.
Maybe.
For the first time, it should have been done the way the citizens would have enjoyed it, better than the way anybody else would have enjoyed it. And we need our downtown, and we need to have business booming down there. So if people are downtown, then it's some money being made. If they're not, and they're tucked off to the side somewhere, like poor little people.
Hopefully they will be participating.
No,
And they won't be tucked up to the side. Hopefully they'll be walking and or running and or volunteering with us. We're not excluding the business community, this time of the day starting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, till before 10. Many of those businesses down there on Saturday that I'm aware of are not open. So we were trying to consider the impact on mostly the business community, as well as the citizens. Our event on that Saturday, because it may change. We're doing that on the day of our reunion as well. So we got a packed weekend. Started Friday afternoon golfing at Harbor Shores, then going out to an event on Bays on that Friday, then getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to come up to the high school to try to do a 3.1 walk. I didn't mean to tell y'all a whole agenda, y'all welcome. But then go to our event on Saturday evening, and then believe it or not, on Sunday, we're ending up at Secret Gardens across the street. We're trying to, no doubt, use all Benton Harbor, let you know, Benton Harbor businesses on everything we do. That's first, second, and third before we go anywhere else. We're keeping everything within the city of Benton Harbor, because we're the Benton Harbor High School class of 74. So I graduated in St. Joe and Lakeshore. So we try to keep everything right in the city of Benton Harbor. But we were thinking about lessen the impact on the business community when we started up from the ground.
well, I'd like to know who's in opposition to this happening downtown as well. For business downtown safe, for citizens, concerns. And I'll leave it at that.
Yes, sir. No, I respect that. You're not, there was no one that was in opposition to it. After we had looked at probably 4 or 5 different potential routes, and they may change whether we start over near the beach and so forth. And for the high school, we said this one we wanted to start in the high school, and so that's why it ended up there. But that's the vision. You're welcome down the road, because we're going to hand this off to somebody down the road.
So I had a suggestion,
Yes,
just
yes,
to offer a recommendation. There's an organization in the area, Southwest Michigan Racers.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They do races. They have a built-in network of runners.
Yeah.
That's what they do all summer. They register and they run in 5 and 10Ks. And I think they know how to map out routes. They have the platform for registration, and it's really relatively turnkey. And so it allows you to have a little bit more time to market and promote. They do it as well, but it allows you to focus and hone in on the audience that you want. So just something for you to think about, maybe not this year, maybe, I don't know, but for the future. I've used them personally when we did the turkey trot, the Twin Cities Turkey years ago before I stepped down from the Parks and Conservancy. But and they were amazing to work with. They took a 1% administrative fee, and to be honest with you, the 1% administrative fee was worth it because they did all the heavy lifting. And it was a tremendous fundraiser for us that we were able to recycle those dollars and put them back into the park. So
Excellent.
just as a fun.
All right, take that down, John, and,
Yes, right.
yeah, if you can get that from
Yeah,
her.
so they're
Yeah.
SWMI, so
Yeah.
Southwest Michigan SWMI Racers.
All right, thank you. If any staff got any, Chief, you had anything to add to that? Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is the Department of Public Safety report.
Greens. Got a report here. I just want to highlight a couple of things before I turn it over to Deputy Director Clark. We read the initial summaries. These stolen cars are still quite an issue. Month of May was a very busy month because of the weather. Farm responded to 4,191 calls for service, which is 275 complaints more than last month, which is a 23% increase from April to May. So that's how the numbers have trended in the last few years. The department made 59 arrests, issued 16 citations. One of the things that we're looking at in following trends is uptick in home invasions in May with 6 forcible entries, which is higher than what the monthly average is. Additionally, we're seeing trends in burglary motor vehicles. And we theorize that the breaking of vehicles is possibly linked to them stealing them as they test the doors and whatnot. So we're developing some strategies and some messagings out there for our citizens to be able to protect themselves and their properties for these vehicles. Deputy Director Clark is going to speak a little bit more specific to some things that we can do. Excuse me. As far as the stolen cars, we got 28 stolen recovered. That's a huge number. Going through still and looking at each one of those reports, again, that's the way it works in police work. There's one number that gets assigned. So this could be slightly spurious. I found one already that was simply a friend took the car and made it back. But still, that number's high. So again, that's a 27.71% increase just from last month alone. And this trend has not just been Arbor, this is nationwide. However, again, we'll look for strategies to get these numbers down and try to get these to stop. And I pulled numbers for 4 years. You can see when we make arrests, the problem is they're predominantly juveniles. Look at the numbers where like 2023 down, back out up. So really want to go on a campaign to educate our citizens. Again, there's some things that I learned about myself today. It's not like it used to be those smash and grabs. We do have those. They are smashing windows, but predominantly they're checking doors and all the magical key fobs out there that's making it easy, even to the point where they can be cloned, which he'll talk about. So I think we all need to be wary and be careful of that. Excuse me. So those are things that we're looking at, some solutions to protect the citizens from having these cars stolen, and we're finding them recovered in a certain area predominantly, which tells us, so there's some things that tells us they're probably on foot, they live in the area. So that is a great concern to us, and you'll be hearing more on that through this committee and also through public announcements. So the one shooting that we had, we had a shooting, did have homicide. That subject is in custody, awaiting trial. Very quickly, I'll let Deputy Director Cass talk about code compliance. We can go fire. You can read that.
So as far as code compliance goes, we continue to be extremely busy. 264 complaints since the 1st of January. Of those, 196 have been closed out. That does not include grass. Just in the month of May alone, we had 300 grass citations. 138 of those were set for abatement. along with 42 rental inspections, and I think it was 46 commercial property inspections. So extremely busy on the code enforcement end of things right now. The grass thing takes most of our time, but we're still getting a lot of other inspections done.
Yeah, we've been having some success. What I'm gonna do now is turn over to Deputy Director Clark. He's gonna talk about some detail, a little bit more detail about how to protect ourselves with stolen vehicles, and then he'll roll right into, we'll pause questions, Commissioner, and then he'll go into resolution to amend chapter 41.
So, yes, I'm not allowed to do this. So the current stolen car trends, we're starting to see stolen cars as a whole rise. In the 80s, early 90s, it was a pretty popular crime, and then as security systems got better, it started to trail off. Things like chop shops and that trailed off for a while, and now they're starting to come back and starting to be more prevalent again. The first series, obviously we've talked about this numerous times, is the Hyundai and Kia issues. So if you have a certain model Hyundai or Kia, now the manufacturers have come out with new software. So if you own one of those cars or know somebody that does, have them go to their dealership and see if they have gotten the new software installed. That's important because of those numbers that we see in the auto theft, some of these are repeat occurrences. The citizen can't afford to make the necessary changes, or their insurance has dropped them, which is what's happening now, is certain insurance companies will not insure these automobiles because of the prevalence. And we're seeing sometimes the same person's car getting stolen over and over. I know at least one that has happened 4 times. So that's the Hyundai and the Kia part of this. I won't get into how that happens. We've talked about that before. The second is sometimes just, I don't want to say irresponsibility, just kind of laziness. If we have a car with a fob, we leave the fob in the car because we don't want to mess with it. We go in the house and we do our thing. Auto theft has now become almost like a sport in that result, because the car thieves will just walk through neighborhoods, parking garages, wherever cars are centrally located, and just try doors until they get one that opens, and then they go inside and then they push the start button. And if the car starts up, they just got a free car, and they'll take off. They'll either joyride with it, or as we've seen in certain cases, they'll steal a car here, go to another city, dump it there, steal a car there, come back when whatever they're doing there is done.
So for the cars that don't have key fob in, if the doors are locked, we also think what's contributing to the numbers of larceny to the vehicles. They open them up, they're not going, but they go up to 515 to get the speed.
And then lastly, this one kind of hit me because of my car. It was not stolen, thankfully. But the new technology, as things grow, sometimes people get smarter, criminals get smarter, so on and so forth. You can buy, is just as easy through Amazon, a device that can clone your keys. Okay? So if you have a car that has a key fob that senses when you're walking up to it, unlocks doors and stuff like that, if it's in range and communicating with your car, that scanner can pick up not only your key code, but the car code and create a duplicate key. So certain cars, Dodge Challengers, Dodge Chargers to start off with, because those are the 2 most stolen right now, Hellcats, Scat Packs, that sort of thing. They're able to clone those keys. So if you don't have a good security system, or if you don't put your keys either, I know this sounds crazy, in an aluminum foil, just wrapped in an aluminum foil clamshell, or like a Faraday bag, they can talk back and forth, and then your car can get stolen. How these auto thefts work, and they're all over YouTube and Instagram. They'll come up, they'll either break a window, or they'll put something on the window to help roll it down without the motor being on, and then disable the transmission for a moment, push it down the road, re-engage the transmission, new key, off they go. We had one vehicle that we recovered last summer that actually had 3 bins because it had been through 3 different chop shops. And we had to completely take the car apart to actually find the true hidden bin. So those are just things to be can be concerned with, especially if with the newer technologies, you have a key fob car, enable your security features. I know I'm not trying to sound like the aliens are coming, but the aluminum foil works as like a Faraday bag, so it won't allow the key to talk to the car. So once you lock it, they won't have a communication back and forth.
Because you might not know that your key fob in your car always talk. They're always connected. That's how they're able to intercept that signal, even though you take your key fob inside.
As long as it's within range, and as our Bluetooth and our micro transmitters get better, that range gets longer and longer and longer. Anywhere you can make your car honk, lock in the doors, that is still talking to your car. So that's kind of a good way to test out just how far you can get away from your car before that fob stops talking to your car. So those, obviously on the forefront of stolen cars, chop shops are on coming back because now people are figuring out how to steal cars. They're duplicating VINs again, and we're seeing these things on the rise. So, there's some steps to take to protect yourself. Again, the Kia and the Hyundai, go to the dealership, get that computer upgrade. Sometimes they'll even give you a club. I know that's an old system, but sometimes the old stuff still works. And just be careful. Don't leave your keys in your car. Don't leave purses, money, valuables, things of that nature in view in your car. Bring that stuff in with you at night. And if you can, put your key fobs somewhere where it doesn't talk to your car. That's all I got for that.
And we're gonna put out press releases, stuff on social media, get the word out there so people can, and not just, of course, in our city, but it's happening all over the area. So we gotta get the word out and let people know how to protect themselves. With that, so we'll open to open questions.
You got any questions? Commissioner Kennard?
Yes, I did hear it stated that they have, been putting, I guess, what do you call it? On where there's tall grass, they're putting, what do you call it? Citation out on the lots and everything. It seems like people are pretty much keeping it cut pretty well. The ones that I noticed that the grass is taller than I am is on city-owned property. So now, are you all putting tags on them as well so as you are up with residents? That's what I'd like to know. And I did speak to the fact that we got a brand new street sweeper, and I don't see it enough in our community. We got paper and things like that. They said we should get the leaves and everything up, and I cleaned up pretty well over. Well, I can't now because of my injury. But I see that the street sweeper needs to do its job. A lot of us really care. We love our community. And we get out and we do the best that we can. Me, I can't do like I once did because I clean my area and go to other areas too. But now we have the street sweeper there that can do the job. I'd like to see it down the street. They said, well, we're short of workers. Well, what was the point of getting all that equipment if you don't have someone to use it? It don't make sense to me. But I want to know for that, are you all putting those stickers or whatever you call them at the city-owned property? Because we got it all over. During the holiday, there was people complaining about the cemetery, the way it looked. And they said, well, it's raining so often. Yes, it is. But the community, most of the people are keeping theirs cut. So what's wrong with the city-owned property that it's got an excuse, but then the people don't?
Those that you see the tags that have been put on that get cut, they're not being cut by the owners, they're being cut by the city. I ordered that those be posted first before we cut them. Pictures taken of the condition of them, and if we could contact the owners, to contact the owners. If we couldn't contact the owners, to put a post with a notice on it and have it there for several days in accordance with our ordinance. And then if it wasn't cut, we go in and cut it. But by having done that, it's going to allow us to put the cost for doing that on the tax rolls.
Excuse me, that wasn't what I asked.
It is what you asked. You
No,
asked
what I want
for,
to ask, if you all got city lots, and you're not putting those, complaints on them, but you do for others, but I see most of the people keeping theirs up. But there's city lots, too many of them, that are sitting with grass taller than I am, all through here, even though it's raining, I understand that, but they're keeping theirs cut, and the city should keep their property, city-owned property
the
cut.
city is cutting both the city lots and the private lots.
I can take you some pictures and bring them to you, and you'll see.
I would not be surprised if you
Go down
could. It
Broadway.
takes time to do it.
Okay, any other questions on that report? See the next, Commissioner Andrew.
But let me have that conversation about what Commissioner Kennard is talking about. Yeah, the city is cutting their own lots, and they are making citizens putting their violations on citizens. But the citizens is priority. The city's lot is not priority. I got a lot and one across the street, it belongs to the city. But I got a citation and the city don't get it. There's nothing there. And just like she said, it was high. So yes, the city is doing it, but priority is the target to make the citizen comply to the ordinance, not the city, not even the county. The county's land is horrible too. So yeah, you're gonna get citizen complaint when they see that they're being ticketed and there is other lots that are not being ticketed. So that's the kind of thing that what Commissioner Kennard is talking about. So
Mr.
it
Chairman,
is true that they're doing both of them, but the priorities is to where they're putting that emphasis on, is to get the citizens to comply.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, respectfully, it's just that you're not understanding the process, and that's understandable. What we are doing is attacking all the uncut lots. In instances where you may see, because we've got about 5 or 6 people doing the cutting, some are doing cemeteries and parks, some are doing just parks, a number of them are doing lots, city lots and abatement lots. Now, when one of the contractors gets given a list to do of lots, city lots or abatement lots, they're not gonna get to all of them at one time. Some may be cutting lots over on this block, some are cutting over on this block. A totally different person is doing the abatement lots and may not be doing any of the city lots. They are getting to them on their schedule, and the contractors getting to the city ones are doing it on their schedule. The fact that the timing doesn't work out, that somebody may come and cut a private lot this morning, it may be 2 or 3 days before the person who has the city lot gets to it on his list. And that's just the way it's working. And unfortunately, there isn't really any better way to try and do it. We even had one while there, some of them saying, we don't want to do vacant lots, we just want to do the city ones. Because along with that, this first cut, there's a lot of cleanup and extra work that goes into that first cut. Because they start near tree limbs and trees and some of that tall grass, rocks, and you name it. So they're doing the best that they can do, and there's nothing that you or I could do to make it any different or any better.
Yeah, I beg to differ with you on that one.
That's okay.
Is that the reason why the fees went up to $70 because the grass was so long?
Yes.
Will it go back down once they cut the first time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask through the chair for, to be able to look at the violations from inspections and the fire department. I would like to see what those violations are. We used to get a report that showed that. So I'm asking through the chair if that's available to us again, because I like to keep track of how it affects my residents. I don't care about the rest of it. All I want to know is what is this doing to my resident. So please, through the chair, can we get that information shared with us as a body?
Mr. Manager, can
What
you,
information is that?
she's talking about the reports,
The violation
violations at the
for
site, yeah.
housing and fire. We used to have that available to us and it's not anymore.
And that's like 400 a month and they're multiple pages.
I can stand it if you can stand
We
it.
can email them to you.
I can stand it because that's what I do.
We can email them to you. That won't be a problem.
They might not want it, but I do. Because I really want to know how it's affecting my people. And that's more important than anything else y'all talking about to me.
Could you make that available to?
We have to email
Yeah,
you.
okay.
That's inspection as well as fire. Thank you.
Dr.
Yeah, question, but yeah, just, with the, grass cutting, one point, I understand that one, you go, to do the residents, to cut their grass because you could generate, income. In the city, their grass cutting, is that by Public Works or do the city have to pay a private contractor to cut city grass?
City is paying private contractors to cut it.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts.
Through the chair, I think I heard that the cost of mowing is being put on the tax rolls.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So the cost of mowing the yard is a city cost until it's recovered
That's correct.
via taxes?
Yeah.
Would that be in the following year then?
That I don't really know for sure. It's going to depend in part on the county treasurer and what happens there. But in the past, we have, last year, this city, with its financial condition, spent over $400,000 cutting grass. The city can't afford that. And what we're doing now is we're cutting grass on private property because they're neglecting to do it and leaving it there. We're gonna put it on the tax rolls and try and pursue getting collection on it. If we do it enough times and it builds up enough, it may be worth our while to foreclose on that property for it.
Dr.
Yeah, through the chair, several points that were raised. So number one, point of clarity is that the charge, was one time 200, I heard $70 now. $70 would be a good charge, but I know that people being charged $200 for grass cutting. The second part is that, the city went to the legislative committee and now moved grass cutting to now be in a position to make fixed income people homeless, is what I heard, because I remember when the city moved to put the water bills on the tax roll, and senior citizens lost their home because of the viciousness of the city administration at that time. So are we saying that that's the current situation?
No.
So I'll make it clear. So is it the grass cutting now being put on that property where you just said it could be foreclosed on if those individuals can't pay that fee? And if it's a senior citizen who can't pay that fee, then you would gladly foreclose joyfully to take that property because they did not have the people or their children did not cut the grass in a timely, appropriate manner. So now she has to give up her home and become homeless or go to a senior place. That's what that's what the scenario had been in the past. So what would make that different now?
I don't know about what they did in the past, but what we're doing right now, these are vacant lots, there are no homes on them. So there are no seniors or anybody else that's gonna lose their home because they're not on these lots.
I was asking for clarity because you're saying cutting grass, so you're saying that there are homes that do have tall grass. So you're saying that, so the residential homes are not affected by what the ordinance and what you're doing, it's just for vacant lots.
At this point, it's basically vacant lots and vacant houses.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ms. Kennard.
One other question with the $200 that it was an issue. And they're paying the ones that cut a lot less than they charge you. Where does that other money go to? So,
Excuse me, the fee was reduced to $70. Is that incorrect or not correct?
No, that's not.
Can you clarify the $70 I heard earlier?
Go clarify the fee.
I'm sure she was referring to charges per cutting.
Yeah.
And some instances it may be 70, some instances it may be a lot more, depends on the size of the lot and the circumstances associated with it. And as I said, that's basically the charge for the first cut, but that isn't the issue. The issue about what gets charged to the property is a determination to be made by the city based on a lot of other things that are involved, all of the administrative work that's necessary to go into tracking it down, to buying and posting these signs and stakes and everything else that goes with it.
You're saying the fee is liquid, it moves, it varies, it's not fixed?
That's $200.
It can depend on the situation and the size of the lot.
my issue, I was saying that what are you paying the ones that are doing the cutting, and what are you doing with the money over that amount? Say for instance, $200 to cut. So you pay the guys $40 or $45 to cut.
First
Where
off,
is that other money going?
to be clear,
This was
there
one
is
thing.
no money. We're collecting a dime. It's all outgo, not income. All we're talking about is an exercise where we get it cut, we pay for getting it cut, and all of what's necessary to make it happen, and then we try to put it on the tax rolls and then pursue trying to collect at some point. That first cut that you're talking about with one amount won't be the same when we start after it's been cleaned up, cleared, and we continue doing. But we will charge appropriately for what we spend on it and put it on the rolls. But be clear, in no uncertain terms, there is no money.
Is your rate fixed? Is there a formula, fixed formula?
No. because everything you have to do with one is not the same.
Well, the fixed formula, sir, means that so much yardage, acreage, or how you have this amount of cut. If there's gonna be cleanup or rubbish removal, you have this amount. So where it's fixed and written so that everyone knows where it can't be by the naked eye that you just.
We're not going through all of that. We don't have the staff, the time, or anything else to do all of that. What we're doing is simply getting the job done and establishing a reasonable charge and a reasonable process. We don't have time to be going out measuring by the inch every lot and trying to, we're just gonna try and do a job of getting it done, paying what we have to pay, making a reasonable charge against that property. And anybody who's got a problem with the charge, when the time comes, they take it to court.
You've been paid in the past, but you're saying that now that collection is not being asked for upfront, but you're waiting for the road collection to the county. Because people were paying when they were fined and the city cut. And you say that has
I
stopped?
don't know anything about that. It's not happening now.
So as a point of clarity here, we have to, that can be some further discussion. We do have another meeting after this that we have to get in. So we've got to finish this up. We can go on and on with the debate with the fees and stuff, but.
I just want to say, on page 3, it says 300 grass violations cited, 138 cents for abatement at $70 each equals $9,600. Properties billed at $200 or $27,600, which is an income of $17,940 for the city of Benton Harbor's general fund. Don't believe that when Barron County sends that bill in for $200 on your taxes, that is not being paid. Some people are going through everything that they can do to pay these taxes to keep from getting foreclosed. So there's your answer. It goes in the general fund, and there is a certain amount that is calculated. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is, did you have the ordinance, the resolution there?
Yes. So in the parking ordinance, which is chapter 41, the traffic and motor vehicle ordinance, in section 8, there is a spot in here, chapter or paragraph F, where it talks about the schedule of penalties. The last time this was updated was probably before most of us were born. So we're looking to change the overtime parking violations from $1 to 40, and all other parking violations from $2 to 40. And then after 48 hours, if they don't get taken care of, they go up to 65. And then after 30 days, there's another process. And the only changes we're asking is the violation changes from $1 to 40, and the $3 and $4 to 65. And then instead of 15 days, we're giving it another 30 days after it doubles. Looking at all the neighboring communities around us, looking at what they're charging for their overtime parking violations, and that this is on par with what those are. So that's what we're looking to change. It's not anything drastic, it's just those numbers because they're already set in the ordinance.
Any questions?
Still, it still be the 2 a.m., 6 o'clock a.m. Protocol that you cannot park on the streets.
Yeah, that's a different subject. That's something we're gonna have to revisit because that's seasonal.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is just changing these violations. I hate to put it out publicly, but right now, if a individual was to go to the beach and get a parking ticket as opposed to paying the daily registration fee, they're saving money. So we gotta get our ordinance caught up to the time, is what it really boils down to.
A perfect example of that is, I understand, about 3 Saturdays ago, there were like 87 tickets. And the tickets were $5 and the parking fee for all of it was $10. Cheaper up.
Yeah.
Any other
Those are
questions?
the reasons the city's broke.
City's broke.
Let's take loan money.
Okay, say that.
All right.
All right. Ms. Fields, you got it? Commissioner? No. Anybody?
I'd like to know the process. If I get a parking ticket and the first one for all violations is $40, where do I take that money to? Do I pay Benton Harbor or do I go to Barron County?
So, first things first, this is for like the beach. So if you called Tamiko and given her your plate, you wouldn't be getting a parking ticket anyway, if you're a city resident.
So this is for the beach or for public parking,
Correct,
not residential parking.
correct. This is,
So how do you distinguish between
so
public or residential?
So that is another section, because that's something we're gonna talk about later when we get to parking on seated areas and stuff like that. This is for, if you go to the beach and you're not a Benton Harbor City resident, and you don't pay for the parking ticket, you don't pay for your day pass, which I think is $15, $10 or $15 right now, and you just take the $8 parking ticket, you're still money ahead.
Okay.
So,
But then,
and
do they pay the city of Benton Harbor?
yes,
Or do they go to Barron County?
no, this would come back to the city.
And it will all go in the general fund?
That's for the city manager and I just,
Well, I just asked, you do go to general fund, okay, okay. And so when it gets to be, 48 hours and go up to 65, do they pay Benton Harbor or do they
Go
go to
here.
Barron County? When do they go to Barron County?
it's after the 30 days. If they
After
haven't
the 30
taken
days.
care of it within that 30-day time frame, we will send out a letter that says, you have a parking ticket, please take care of it. And then if it doesn't come, if they don't take care of it within, I believe it's 15 days after the letter, then we pull the ticket back in,
I'll come back.
we void that parking ticket, we rewrite it as a state violation, and then it would go through the processes of, affecting your driver's license and that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? If none, we'll consist to move this. Okay. Next item on the agenda, Department of Public Works, current construction project update.
All right, thanks, everybody. Jason Markworth at Marsh. As mentioned last month, I felt like you guys have a lot of things going on, and we're gonna try to give you monthly updates for the construction projects that are currently underway each month here. Some of the stuff is a lot of the carryover from the updates that we posted on the website, but I figured just to kind of give you a quick overview. So I'm gonna go pretty quick here, because I know you guys got a lot of things, but and some of these projects that we've been talking about for quite some time. So the projects I want to concentrate just on today is the Division Columbus project, the Main Monroe project, the Green and Edwards project, and then actually talk really quick about the completed project on the Pipestone Street resurfacing. Mostly all just infrastructure replacement projects. And in the future, I'll have more to put on here, but these are the ones I'm focusing on today. Just quickly, the overview map. The Green and Edwards project is up there, north half the city. That's all in blue. All the current projects I'm talking about is in blue. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of read from the larger blow-ups there. Division Street, Columbus, right there in the middle. Pipestone Street resurfacing. You guys seen that street resurfaced there at the south limits of town. And then the main Monroe Street that's currently underway. My next presentation, I'm going to go over a couple potential project awards. That's what's shown in red there. Jefferson Street resurfacing project, and then what we're calling the Ravine Area Sewer Project, that just north of Territorial there by Edwards Park. Just remember the purpose of these reconstruction projects for these, not the resurfacing on Pipestone, but the reconstruction projects for Division, Columbus, Green and Edwards, and Main Monroe is really to replace the existing water main infrastructure there. At the same time, we're replacing sanitary and storm sewer along those major routes. Most of those projects all have old 4-inch diameter water mains, and we're replacing it with at least an 8-inch ductile iron water main. On Main Monroe, Main Street, we have a 12-inch, it's a longer corridor through there. Like I mentioned, sanitary sewer and storm sewer will be installed, providing drainage improvements along those corridors of the roadway, along with replacing the road. New curb and gutter, sidewalk ramps, all meet ADA current regulations. Division Columbus. So that's a project that's one of the reconstruction projects that is finally getting to the end there. I mentioned, I kind of put on there, they actually started construction on that September 21st. And we kind of have almost a final completion date of June 30th now. The awarded contract amount was $2.9 million. The amount paid to date is just over $2.8 million. So just looking at that, they're about 95% complete. They are actually raising manhole adjustments. They were actually doing that today. They have pavement markings and those manhole adjustments and the final signage to do. But just a couple things. It's been a really good project. It looks really nice out there. Paving was just recently completed there, as the picture on the left shows. The ADA ramps were completely poured within the last month. And then the restoration has been underway. And what you see out there is coconut fiber netting that's been used as a mesh blanket over the restoration areas. Just a reminder for the residents along the area, continue to water them. We've been blessed with some wet spring, but it's even more important here in the next week or so. It's going to get up to the 90 degrees and 100 degree in the heat index. So just hit it with water if you can, and it does real well. But I think for the Division Columbus project, it's been coming in good restoration. The Main Monroe project, a little bit bigger project.
This case was very corrupt.
A little bit bigger project. That's been going very well. Northern Construction started on that just this March. And they have a completion date of August 23rd. They are ahead of schedule, but they still have until basically August 23rd to do it. That project was awarded at a cost by the city of 5.5. They are right at about 2.5, so they're just about half completed. However, curb placement, so all the underground is complete in some certain locations. So the contractor's already installing curb, building for roadway, and some of the other larger cost items are going to happen, and things are going to start taking shape down there. For sure on Monroe, they were out there till 8:30 or so last night, 9 o'clock, pouring concrete curb on Monroe. So now we have the 2 curb surfaces, so the contractor can grade to. And then they're going to continue to work all the way to the east side of the project limits there at Main Herd and work towards the west. So really good out there. Contractors making some good progress. The Green Edwards project, that's the B&Z project that is up there north of town there, north of Territorial. They, contractor started on March 8th on that, and they do have until August 23rd, just like May and Monroe, to do. They're in good position with schedule. It doesn't look that way with the 21%. Remember, I'm just doing a pay item takeoff where it's truly the pay of the items. But generally, the underground for Green Avenue has been done. So very soon, they're gonna be grading and temporary grading for roadway, thinking about their concrete items that really kicks that percentage up pretty quickly. But they're just under $500,000 completed on that $2.3 million job. A lot of water pictures there, water and sewer main installation on Green Avenue, sanitary sewer on Green Avenue, and so that project's been going well. We've been talking to a lot of residents about accessing driveways. Not much traffic concerns up there, just based on the location. And then lastly, the Pipestone Street resurfacing project. That was a quick hitter. If you guys saw that, it was you saw more traffic control than probably action out there. But that was started on April 4th and actually completed on the 10th of May, so about a month. And I think I have an extra zero. And that is not the total. I think it was a $230,000 project. I'm pretty sure. I think I got an extra number in here. But in general, it's 100% complete. What we're doing there is working with MDOT, because it was an MDOT funded project, and get that closed out. That looks really nice down there as well. So that was a quick just update. That's just any questions, I guess, on the current projects going on.
Any questions?
Yes. You did say that Columbus and Division should be winding down.
It's basically open traffic, yeah. There's only a couple type 3 barricades, and they're doing those adjustments. After they do those adjustments and get the pavement markings done, they'll pull all that and it'll be fully open and done. So, probably by the end of the month is what we're doing. But you can drive on it almost like now. It's not detoured or anything like that.
Ms. Fields, you got any? Most of these projects are, if not almost all of them, are residential areas.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. And these ones here, but except Pipestone resurfacing,
Right.
that was an MDOT funded. You get certain MDOT funded roads that was it. But that was a quick hitter, just resurface it. Everything else is getting brand new infrastructure, water, sanitary, and storm along these residential areas.
I get a lot of questions to say, what's going on in the inner city, so, yes. I think Commissioner Henry had hers up first, then I'll come back to you, Commissioner.
Good faith efforts to make local minority residents participation worksheet. You refer to it in your document quite a few times, as each one of the bidder is required to submit one. I don't see any of those. And then when I go to the actual bid, that they're not working too well with our contractor, they're not working too well with hiring our people. And this is unacceptable to keep happening year after year after year. If you think that my grandson or my nephew feels good about everything that they see in the city that's happening, and there is no jobs, no opportunity, that's even against what we as elected officials asked for. We passed resolutions to make sure that our people have a chance. And it's not happening. I come and I ask Aramont why. They said, well, we just started doing it. But yet still, everybody says, except one contractor that has meets and he's probably not getting 25% of the work, but he's getting some work. So my question to you is, why do we still allow them to come in and do these projects and take their money and go home with it, or wherever they go, and we get nothing out of it? And it's over and over and over. So one day when that money runs out, we'll say, oh, we had our opportunity and it didn't work. We didn't make it happen. So I'm tired of asking them, why are we giving these people contracts and they're not abiding by one important rule to employ or help our people? You gotta do something, Chair. I'm talking to you, Chair. There's gotta be something that's gotta be done. If you ask the clerk, you'll see there's resolutions that supports that.
There's plenty. Mr. Manager, you want to speak on that? I think when you're trying to make sure that happened.
We do make the effort to try and make sure that happens, but as I've said over and over again, if the people are not here and to hire, what are we going to do?
So do you hold up the project?
Did it say that they even asked for? They didn't even. One guy said he didn't even do anything. So if we don't have any teeth, if we don't bite them, if we don't make Section 3 got some good teeth in it. Because that last drawdown says that they cannot have that last drawdown if they have not hired our people. So we do have something with teeth in it, but we're not biting them. We're not holding their feet to the fire. We're just letting them get away with it and take the money and run.
We're jumping ahead a little bit here, because
That's what I do.
That's the awards. The presentation I just did was just the updates for the construction, for the projects that you guys work with.
Yeah.
I can go into the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
Yes.
Before you go there, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
About
the project.
It's about the project.
Okay.
About Main Street. The completion date, did I miss it, or is there?
August 23rd.
Thank you.
Yep. And we're trying to get done earlier than that too. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, just quickly, let me go through this and then I can answer and talk
Okay.
to what
Okay.
I can talk to how the contractors prepared their bids. And
Okay, is it pertaining to the bids or the project, the project update?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the question that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
One of the things was, I was going to ask the same question, but one other thing I want to elaborate. Years ago, and I've been here since 2004, regularly, when I retired from the school, they said it was a 25% thing, and it has not been honored. For, like Commissioner has said, it has not been honored. There's no excuse, so nothing that you bring to me is going to give an excuse for that not being met, because there are Black contractors every day that would be gladly applying for those positions there. So to tell me that there's no one there, so to hold up the progress of the program. So I'm looking for a resolution, I'm looking for results. When these things are put in place, we're looking for them to have results behind them. So why put them in place if you don't have the results? And over the years, I have not seen that meet the footprint of what it put in there to ensure that our people get those jobs. And like she said, I want to know that all of these contractors, I know we have to pay into the city income tax, everyone that works in the city of Benton Harbor. I want to know if these contractors and these people that are getting to work here in the city of Benton Harbor, are they paying the city into the city income tax?
Let me.
Can you move?
Yeah.
Go ahead with that.
Let me go ahead and answer that. It's just my thoughts on some of those. Probably the best option on projects moving forward, if you want to have city residents work through one of these contractors that do work for you, you're gonna have to pay the contractor more money to do a training program through that contract. If you guys want to do that, then we can look at those options. That would be an item requirement for the city, for the contractor, to be required, and they would request additional compensation to do that process. And that's probably the best way for you to get the 25% participation from just, because none of the local minority contractors are giving these contractors bids for assisting them to do any work. It's from what I understand, based on the stuff, but based on the information that we received as part of the bidding package and us talking to the contractors. So that's an option. That's one thing I thought of, was to somehow build, you have a pay item for concrete sidewalk, you have a pay item for job site training, and you have a specification that they have to meet, and we track it that way, but that's gonna come with an additional cost. And the contractor's gonna need names and people to hire to work through that. So there's a little bit going on there, but that's kind of one of the options I thought. You're just, the size project you are getting, we're not getting your local minority contractors bidding on them as a prime contractor, maybe based on bonding capacity or their schedule or whatever factor they might have. The other, so that's that one, the tax. If you were charging those contractors taxes, which I think we could write in to do that, they're just gonna raise their price up to cover that income tax for you guys. So if I'm a contractor, if I'm bidding $100,000 on a project and I'm required to pay income tax while I'm working there, they might put their bid so they cover that cost. The city would be paying that contractor and then pretty much getting the money back from their contractor through their income tax. That's just one potential possibility that would happen if they paid the income tax when they're in town. But we can do that as well.
Do they pay state and federal taxes on them?
They do that normally, yes.
Okay,
So, I mean, that's kind of some of the things out there. If you're gonna charge those contractors, they're more than likely gonna charge you somehow, some way through the contract.
Mhm.
So,
As a resident.
I might help on
like
that though. The individual employees are paying the income tax. The contractor don't have to pay the income tax for the employees. Yeah, they have to pay, they have to deduct it just like they do state and federal.
It's a payroll tax. Right?
Well, the businesses here in the city, don't they pay city income tax? Your stores and all those businesses here.
The employees do,
It's
yes.
a payroll tax.
It's a payroll tax.
Because from what I understand, when I had my little business going, I paid that city income tax every year. And so if I have to pay it, because I have my business here in the city of Benton Harbor, it seemed only right that these that's making millions of dollars, they can pay. We're one of the poorest cities there is. Our average incomes is below the what it is in the most any other city. So that's why I was trying to say what distinguishes the difference in others that are working and making millions of dollars. Here we are just making little chump change, and we have to pay city income tax.
Okay, well,
yeah, go ahead, yeah, let me go through these, and these are projects that I have been talking about, and now we're to a point where, hey, you know what, now it's time to potentially look at possibly awarding for the work. 3 project award recommendations. The city received bids on all 3 of these projects, May 23rd. It's what we're phrasing as the citywide sanitary sewer, CCTV, the cleaning and televising project. the Jefferson Street resurfacing project, and then the Ravine area sewer project. And those are on that same map that I mentioned earlier. You only see, I don't have anything for the citywide televising project. That's citywide for the sanitary sewer system. Real quick on the sanitary sewer, CCTV. That project includes cleaning and televising sewers throughout the majority of the city. The project that we developed for contractors bidding, it was we estimated maybe $1 million that the city received from the state would cover maybe 70% of the televising. And that's why I said here, Eagle provided $1 million to do as much as you possibly could. It's written into the city's administrative consent order, the ACO that was signed, negotiated between the city and the state. And the city has to update their sewer asset management plan anyways, according to the ACO. So this CCTV work is going to be pretty much the start of updating the sanitary sewer asset management plan. We're talking to the contractors and thinking it's going to be pretty much summer through the fall for them to come in and do the televising. We had estimated $1 million or so for 70% of the system. The city received very good bids from 3 contractors. Duke's Root Control, they're out of Grand Rapids. Clean Earth Environmental, they're out of Kalamazoo, and Plumbers Environmental Services, they're out of Kalamazoo as well. The low bid was received by Duke's Root Control at $436,000. So the note that I want to take away there is the city should be able to do 100% of their sewer system with the money that received by the state. It really depends on how much heavy cleaning we get involved when the pipe contractors are starting to clean sewers out. So we estimated a certain amount of heavy cleaning operations happen. So it's really just a matter of how much that occurs. But that's good news and great news for the city because the requirement was the ACO was to continue to do this CCTV inspection until you had 100%. So you're going to be very close to, if not at all, with the money that you receive from the state. Jefferson Street resurfacing, I brought this to you guys a month ago. That's the resurfacing project, very similar to what was done on Pipestone. And that's from on Jefferson Street by the Johnson Hill area, from Pipestone to Highland Avenue. That's the funding mechanism on that is what you guys approved through resolution last month. It's a 50% cost grant. NDOT pays 50%, the city pays 50%. We talked last time, this is targeted for coming out of the local streets fund. So you're getting a $292,000 project for half the cost. The project must be completed by September 27th. That's our completion date, but we do have a clause in there. Once they start out there, they only have 40 days to complete it. So we do have a limitation on that to not have too much impact. We really think it's going to be impacted even less than what Pipestone did. Our engineer's estimate was just under $325,000. Amlon Corporation out of Grand Haven was the low bid at $292,000. Northern Construction and Ellie Barber also submitted bids on this one. Amlon worked with Reith Riley on the Pipestone project. So it's the same contractor, more or less, that did all the earthwork and the drain, not the paving, but all the earthwork and sidewalk work on Pipestone Avenue. So Amlon was a little bit on that one. Jefferson Street, very quickly, just typical pictures. The road resurface in pretty poor shape. The Ravine Sewer Project, that is just up north of Territorial. A couple years ago, there was a large CSO overflow there of a broken pipe. That was repaired at the time in August of, I guess it was 2022. Only one bidder on that project supplied a bid for you guys. That was B&Z Company. B&Z performed the initial repair on it. B&Z is also working right above where this is located at on the Green and Edwards project. So it's kind of a pretty good option to have there. Our estimate was 270. B&Z came in at 250,000 on that, but only one bidder submitted a bid. The current condition of the ravine, you guys a few weeks ago may have heard, we actually, the city was required to clean out some of that ravine. So a lot of the tires came out of the ravine. When we get a contractor and some equipment out there, we even think we're gonna clean it up a little bit more after we get down there. So, so that's good news. We're gonna end up redoing the gravel surface all the way to, where some of us volunteered and picked up some of those tires. So you have a lot better access going down to that site to maintain it and operate your sewers. But this is just the surface pictures. This is what the pictures of the pipe looks like. So we want to get them in there to do that pretty quickly because it's pretty much failed. Sewer's flowing through there now, but that's the pipe that we're replacing as part of the project. Summary, the CCTV project, we're recommending award to Duke Cruise Control in Grand Rapids for an amount of $436,200. The Jefferson Street resurfacing project, recommended the award to a little bit of Amlon Corporation at $292. And then the ravine, since we only have the one bid from B&Z, out of Ben Harbor, they're recommending to go ahead and have the city approve the contract for that at $250,960. Now, with respect to the Section 3 items, we request that the Section 3 is provided to those contractors. Contractors that we received bids for on these 3 projects filled some of it out, didn't fill a lot of it out. The CCTV contractors, that's when a back truck comes and they none of them submitted anything regarding hiring people on that type of work. The other contracts on Jefferson Street, they provided their number of people that they had working with them currently out of Benton Harbor. And then the B&Z contract, they provided the same information that they did part of the Green and Edwards Award. They have certain individuals on their crews that live and live in Benton Harbor. That's all we received as part of that documentation that was required. So we can go back and we can ask them to rebid. We can ask them to go and do, provide this information. Or you have an option of not awarding it to them at this point. So, those are that's the options that you have. I don't know if you're going to get better information if you rebid it. Just because the one project, you only got the one bidder. So, just might be with capacity, schedule, there might be a lot of factors out there that you might not get different information.
Any questions? Commissioner.
Well, I would say Section 3 give us some deep teeth. And it says the last pullback, if the contractors had no inclination to fill out the paperwork or to follow through with the request, that the last drawdown belongs to the city to train our people. So now, what seems to be the problem? If they're not complying, then they have to comply with Section 3's last buy down. Avamarch, you've been here for a long time, Avamarch, and we've been through this conversation before. I can't understand such a engineering firm that's all across the country, and they have no way to get your contractors, because they're not our contractors, they're your contractors. Why?
Don't know if there are contractors.
Well, you all in the same family, construction and engineering.
I'm gonna let the city manager answer. Go ahead.
They are the city's contractors. It's not Avamarch's responsibility to do what you're saying. We, as a city, have to enforce that. But when they can't find the people, we've had this discussion 100 times in the last 12 months. When they can't find the people, The only option they have is to take the bid, and it's up to us as to whether we wanna sit on it and not do the work because we can't find the people. And it's no different with us. I've handed to every commissioner requests for employees that came to us from several employers here in town. Not a single name was given back to me by anybody. I'm right now in the process of trying to compile a new list of minority contractors for the Project 3 thing. I had a contractor yesterday give me a list, 2 names on it. I know of another one that I added to it. So, you know, we're doing all that we can do on it, but ultimately, it comes down to being the commission's decision. You can reject the money, send it back, review, and that's what happens if you
No,
refuse to accept the
I'm
contract.
not implying that we should reject the money. We should make,
You
people
cannot invent people. I told you before.
you can't
You don't
invent
have a
them.
workforce.
Then the last drawdown belongs to the city for us to train people. That's the bottom line.
Is that what it's saying?
If they take
No.
the bid,
Section 3 is a HUD regulation.
it said $100,000. Where that money come from? Federal money. I guarantee it came out of federal government. I can follow it down from the White House to the state of Michigan. So that's HUD money. That's federal money. Now, if you don't have staff enough to do that, say that. If you don't have staff enough willing to do it, say that. If the commissioners don't have enough balls to say, we have put a resolution on the floor and it passed, and we can't do anything about it,
I asked the question,
shame on them.
Go ahead.
wouldn't you say if we don't have the ability to do it, define it, do exactly what?
Make the contractors comply with our resolution
Comply how?
for 25%. So they didn't even respond to Amber March's request. Only one did. Only one responded. The rest of them just ignored him.
They responded, they just didn't put zeros on their paperwork that they responded.
Could you send me that, please, sir?
It's
No, it said there's a something that is supposed to be here, and it's not attached, and it's not included in the vote.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so
So are you saying that the bids are not wrote up properly?
They provided the worksheets, they provided the worksheets that we asked them to do. They say, we contacted certain individuals, no response. Okay, so they've documented that as part of their bid submitted to the city. Okay, so yes, I can reject them all. Then you wouldn't have a bid to look at considering for award to get the work done. That's an option. You know, if you decide to put it on their back end, because in my understanding, the resolution is a goal of 25%. That's how I read the resolution. If you do it on the back end, then they would want to negotiate that with the city before they sign the contract. So.
well, that's good.
Okay.
What about section 3? What do you have to say about that? You already talked about the 25%.
I will bring back to the committee the language on section 3. So
Please do.
everybody can
So
see it
everybody can
and know
understand.
exactly what it says.
Okay, do that. For the sake of, we got this other meeting to do too, so, consensus to move these items forward. And then we'll solve it in the commission. Okay, moving forward here. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and, close the public safety meeting out.
No, you still have sub C.
Oh, which one is it?
C.
Okay, oh, C, sorry. Okay, we're on item C.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yep, item
hold that
C.
question.
Yep, item C is a resolution for a consideration to accept the NDOT grant for the project of Empire and Colfax signals. This is a grant that we probably missed getting to you guys about a month ago. But it's a project that the city has been working towards with NDOT to do modernization and safety improvements to the signal at Empire and Colfax. It's been programmed for a few years with Twin Cats and the NDOT funding agencies. It is a CMAQ project, which stands for Congestion Mitigation Air Quality. It's a fund that NDOT provides usually for like walking trails and signal improvements. So you're gonna get new mast arms at that intersection. You're gonna get new push buttons, a few ADA upgrades, and most importantly, at that location, that bump out that is on southbound Colfax gets removed as part of this project. So the resolution to accept the grant is what we're looking at right now. It is a $288,000 grant. MDOT's already bid the project. Our estimate was always $388,000. So grant funds, the city retrieves $288,000 of the $388,000 cost. The $100,000 for the remainder of the project will come out of local streets fund. So, this would be a major street, so it would come out of the major street fund. And the reason probably between the two disparities in the cost is the CMAQ is for the signal upgrades. Some of the pavement improvements are probably not funded exactly through that, but you get $288,000 out of a $388,000 project. So you get most of it done.
So that bump out, you say it's gonna be, how's it going?
So the curb comes out and bumps out, all that will be removed. That sidewalk, raised sidewalk will be removed. A straight curb will be put down there, and then the pavement will be hand patched and repaved there. So when you're heading southbound, you don't have to taper over and taper back. It'll be a straight movement to that lane that you're going straight or turning right.
A lot of people lost some tires on it.
Schedule on that. MDOT just did that, so you guys do have to approve the resolution, and then you'll have to approve the contract with MDOT. So we're probably talking about the next month. I would anticipate all the underground for the foundations, for the signals, all that would be placed this fall.
Okay.
The work done at the bump out is more than likely gonna be done this fall. They'll wanna get all the surface work done because there's long lead times for the mast arm signals themselves. So they'll get everything set up for the fall, and then in the spring, they'll pop up and install equipment.
Any questions?
No.
Ms. Henry.
Chair, I would like for you and your committee to put the new streets that we have done in the last 5 years on the agenda, because we are not taking care of them. And we really, for the last 5 years, take care of them and then work on the rest of them. You got Empire going down the hill. It's horrible. It's quite a few places that even the bridge, Tawana Bridge, is looking a little shaky now. Those, I would just like for you to put it on the agenda and let us talk about what we can do to keep them clean and to keep them in good shape. Because we just paid a lot of money to fix those places, and they need to be fixed.
Can somebody compile that list?
Who gonna compile it? Who gonna compile that? Who?
You say all the streets in the last 5 years?
Yeah, because we spent a lot of money.
Yeah, we can definitely put that together. I know what you're talking about, Commissioner. The newer roads and, especially at Empire, the low area there collects a lot of debris and dirt down there.
All right, thanks.
So will you put that on your agenda for next month, please, so we
That's
can
good.
have a discussion?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
And is this public works also?
Yeah.
Will you put public works on the agenda for next month, please?
Yeah, we'll do that too.
We need, well, if you ask your co-chair, he'll tell you exactly what public works needs.
Some more people.
Thank you.
Okay,
More money. Pay the ones we
yep,
got, so
yep,
we won't
more money,
lose.
more people, yep. Consensus move that, this is item four. Okay. Thank you.
Can I make a statement?
That's it.
Cause you wanna say the public, you wanna do public, or say it for, do it one big public comment, which one you wanna do?
Public comments.
Wanna do it?
What, public comments?
Yeah, or do you wanna do it all at,
Public.
say for,
No, she
Public
said
personnel?
they got some
Which-
public comments.
All right. We'll take the public, comments, come up to,
Keep on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go first.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right. What I want. to
public
do-
comments, okay, you got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to know why haven't we, since we asked for a citizens review board, to be listed here, and this is the place that I think that it was put forward. And we haven't had that on the list here at all, since we brought it up. I know it's been over a month ago that we brought forward and asked for that. It was in place, it was voted on, it was put in place. And so I wanna know why isn't it back on here, so that whatever that you all saw that, you didn't want on there, you can make it known to us because it was put forward. So if there was anything wrong, it should have been corrected then. Now that it's put forward, you should have that available. So I wanna make sure that you all don't forget it, because I'm not.
Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, last month, Mr. Little said he was gonna look at it, and I just wanna know if you had a chance to look at it.
I haven't, that's the reason it hasn't been back. And I apologize for that, but since that time between PGA, water plant, grass contracts, grass clay cemetery, whatnot, I honestly just have not had time, but I will be trying to do it as soon as I can.
Budget too, the budget.
Budget also, yes.
Can you make that a priority, so we can do that next month? Put it on the agenda for next month and talk about it.
As quickly as I can get to it, I certainly will.
And can I make one more request? That when you all come to do a interview to those that are for your city manager, I know you all have put forward that, how long ago?
Yeah,
It's a different.
there's a different committee, it's still public safety.
It's a committee,
Okay, because
it's not committee, the next meeting.
next one,
Yeah.
okay, because I want to be on that, I just feel that, some of the commissioners should be a part of that review.
So last comment for public safety.
Okay, I
Okay.
have a question. Oh, cool.
Or if, let
I have
me,
a question.
I'll come back to you since you already spoke for, and then he can speak, then we'll come back and let you finish that up. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Few things, there was mention of heavy cleaning, I think that related to storm sewers?
Sanitary sewers.
Sanitary, oh, okay.
Yes, we're definitely looking at storm sewer options, but that fund specifically for sanitary sewers.
Okay, well, my point, I guess I'll make it anyway, about the energy that goes into cleaning storm sewers. If we can keep the storm sewers, like the grass out of the streets and the decay that naturally happens, composting, it's very obvious where the streets are not cleaned, like where the mower clippings remain and decay. It's gonna take a shovel to clean those gutters. And the owners are now getting notices. Shouldn't take too long to maybe push that to action. Hopefully that'll take place. Stats, public safety does a really good job of keeping statistics on car theft and every which way fires. I don't know if the city does that itself. We have a plan. If we plan and we can react on our plan if it's not working, do we have a strategy to accomplish the goals that we've set? I hear a lot of rambling and a lot of things going on, but I'm not sure that they're fully reviewed. There's been requests for public works. Is there a schedule for what they're doing or what they're planning to do? And I'm not hearing that. I know that there's a lot of noise about the street sweepers invisible and all that stuff. Is there a plan? Do we have a plan? I'm curious. Speeds. There's been a lot of talk in meetings about high travel speeds of cars. And then there was a concern about, we got a lot of new roads and they're very smooth. So there's going to be new raceways in town. That's thinking ahead. Oh, we got smooth roads. Now what can we do to reduce the speed? Traffic calming maneuvers, like the bump out, which may be poorly designed, but sometimes bump outs are added to narrow the streets intentionally to make it look less like a speedway and more like a path through an area, particularly alongside high school, where you don't really want that to be a raceway. So I don't know if these things are being thought about. Bump outs came up in the Colfax project that, ooh, nobody wants a bump out because you might run into it. I live across the street from not a bump out, but it's a narrowing of the road of Main Street. And it's incredible how many people just, boom, you hear them crossing the curb and thankfully, you know, not hitting anything. But we got to pay attention and we need to slow down. A lot of communities are putting in radar feedback systems to be a reminder of what kind of speed you're doing. I saw a guy going 70 accelerating towards St. Joe today. That's really quite frequent. Last Tuesday evening on Water Street, there was a car, people thought maybe going 80 or 90 on Water Street between 5th and Hinckley or that area, Territorial. There's crazy stuff going on. We got to slow down.
Okay, thank you.
Radar feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for thinking of it.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Flanagan.
I have a question. What's the protocol when someone calls 911 and someone's life has been threatened or something like that? What's the protocol for that?
You probably would have to go to it's central dispatch, the county runs dispatch, so.
All right, and
Yeah.
then, well, if you're in the city of Benton Harbor, you send out a police officer, right?
I'm sure.
Okay, so there was an incident happened where 911 was called last week a couple of times from the victim. The police officer came out, but they did not talk to the victim. They talked to the perpetrator outside. So there were 6 witnesses inside, along with the security guard that was waiting on the police officer to come in and take the statement of the person who called. The police officer never came in. Even the security guard went outside to find out because we waited in the, I was one of the people in there. We waited for the police officer to come in. The security guard was waiting for the police officer to come in. He was just sitting out there, but he was out there talking to the perpetrator. And so he never came in. So we called 911 again, at least 2 to 3 times. And then they said that they will send him back over or what have you. The security guard went outside to ask the police officer, to tell the police officer, look, this lady is in here and she's been threatened or whatever, and you need to come and take her statement. The police officer refused to come in. He said, I'm not wasting my time going in there. I'm wasting my time being here. And he was screaming at the security guard. The security guard will let you know. He was screaming at the security guard and said, I'm wasting my time. I don't need to be here. Why was I even called? Or anything like that. So he never even came inside to find out what had happened. There's at least 5 complaints on this officer at this point. And we need to know what's going to happen because that's unacceptable. How are they training? And it was a new recruit, I believe. How are they training your officers? Are you training your officers not to answer 911 calls? What if something would have happened? He's just sitting out there and he left. We called again and they said they were going to send him back. He never came back. Nobody ever came. We sat there for almost an hour and a half. Almost 11 o'clock. At night. So the security guard came back in. He was upset because the way he disrespected him, hollering and saying that he wasn't going to come in to see what the victim wanted. So we need to know what's going to happen And this is why the Citizens Review Board needs to be in place. Because there should be other oversight outside of the police department with these complaints. This young man had 5 complaints and about to get another one from the 6th person for not coming in and finding out what's going on. So I want to know what's going to happen and we
Those-
can address it.
Are those complaints, with the, Benton Harbor Police Department?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they took our complaints, we talked to the sergeant, everybody, it was at least 5 people that came in to the police department that evening. I mean, not that evening, that morning, the next day or a couple days later. And they sit down and interviewed us about it. So we need to know what's gonna happen, because that's unacceptable for any officer to come to a call and don't come in and talk to find out what the victim wants, what's going on.
I'll do some inquiry myself, but,
I'm sorry.
I say I'll do some inquiry to see if, I'm not aware, but, so I can't even speak on it, so.
You have to
But I will
get the
inquire.
date and the time that it
Yeah.
happened, so you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last Tuesday evening.
Okay.
At Benton Harbor High School.
Yeah, well, I'll check with the chief. See. Yeah. Right.
It was Benton Harbor High School.
All right, we'll check it out and see what.
And it was Officer Henderson, not the dad, the son.
All right, that ends the, go ahead, Mr. Duncan. You can-
Got what I really wanted to say. I don't want to wait 2 more weeks. Citizens need a lawyer. I asked you guys to consider it amongst yourselves, but I haven't heard anything about it, and it's been months, maybe. But citizens need their own city attorney, not you guys' attorney, because we see what they do for you guys. We want more, we want better. So to ask for it as a citizen and just keep getting dissed by you guys not having any comment about it, anything to do with it. The citizens are in a dilemma because we don't have what we actually need, and that is probably a law firm to help all the citizens out. And you guys only do so much. And we don't expect you to be lawyers. But you have incidents where citizens are ignored or dismissed all the time. That's why I'm asking you guys to not only consider us having a city attorney for the citizens. I like to demand it. Because I don't think you guys understand nothing else unless it's a command or a demand. And citizens have every right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I'm asking you guys to champion. Just like I asked you guys to champion reparations for citizens. I don't hear you guys saying anything now. I didn't hear you say anything then. It's been just hanging out in thin air. But I'll be back to ask you again. And just to keep on asking you again, this was that word redundant. So why don't you guys just, like the Nike commercial, just do it. You're gonna overlook it now, or you're gonna make it? am I being heard, or what's that word you guys say? Duly noted or unduly noted?
What you
That's the
say,
word,
man?
duly noted. Now, through the chair. I'm not
What is it?
laughing.
What you say? It
Chair.
says duly noted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it is. Thank you for public safety comments and attending. I'll turn it over to the chair of.
We need to stop this one, started.
Yeah, this meeting is adjourned. Public safety is park recreation. Public works adjourned.
Yeah, she doesn't.